In this video, we will be comparing and contrasting the philosophical differences between Edward Bernays and Noam Chomsky. We will be discussing how Bernays became a public relations master and how Chomsky believed that the government and major corporations control the media. We will begin by discussing Edward Bernays and the Century of Self, and then we will go on to discuss Noam Chomsky and manufacturing consent. Edward Bernays, the nephew of Sigmund Freud, used Freud's principles of psychoanalysis to create what we now know as public relations, a term that did not even exist before Bernays. He used the principles of psychoanalysis to exploit individuals' fears and desires in order to create groundbreaking campaigns for private, corporate, and political clients. He felt that he can control the masses by using these principles. Bernays manipulated his uncle's belief that the people had aggressive and sexual forces hidden inside, and Bernays used these hidden desires to promote group thinking. Bernays began doing this by eliciting support of U.S. citizens during World War I. He then went on to apply this group thinking into advertising. Bernays realized that the best way to advertise was to step away from what the people needed and focus on what people wanted. This is how he would tap into their desires, by creating ads that focused on the desires instead of the needs. He created amazing ads based on these desires by showing how a product could make a person feel. By doing this, he was able to help many corporations. An example of this was the tobacco industry. At the time, women did not smoke in public, which was hurting the tobacco industry's sales. So they came to Bernays to help get women to smoke and to show that it was okay to smoke in public. Women at the time saw cigarettes as a phallic symbol, and Bernays needed to change that. So he came up with the line Torches of Freedom. And the way he began this campaign was to have socialites light up during a parade. And soon it became acceptable for women to smoke in public. All because Bernays tapped into a woman's desire to feel powerful. Like Hitler, Bernays believed that you could not have a democracy without having some control over the people. It was realized that they needed to have control over businesses and over people's desires. Companies began to use Bernays' technique, and one of those companies was Betty Crocker, who had developed an easy-to-make cake mix. But it was not selling like they wanted, so they brought in housewives to do a focus group and found out that these women felt like they were being lazy by using this product. So to help their sales, Betty Crocker put on the box to add an egg to the mix. This made the women feel like they were actually making something by using their own egg. Bernays' way of using public relations and advertising is still used to this day. Now we'll discuss Noam Chomsky and manufacturing consent. Noam Chomsky was an author, political activist, linguist, and anarchist. Said to be the most intellectual man alive, like Bernays, Chomsky believed that the media has control over the masses. Chomsky uses what he calls a propaganda model. This is where the media sets a general agenda, and the elite media set a general framework, and the local media adapt to their model, which includes selection of topics, distribution of concerns, emphasis, framing of issues, filtering of information, and bounding of debate. They also determine, select, shape, control, restrict, and serve the interests of dominant elite groups. He believed that the corporations control and own the media, and the media makes money from advertisers. In fact, in the New York Times, 60% of the paper are ads. Chomsky believed that the elite media only reported what they felt was important for the masses to know about. An example of this was in the 1970s. The U.S. bombed Cambodia. This went on for years and killed thousands. But this was not reported. However, when Cambodia was killing their own people, this was reported about and greatly exaggerated by saying it was genocide. Chomsky believed that by omitting information or making up information, the media can keep the masses under control. Although both Bernays and Chomsky had the belief that you could control the masses through the media, Bernays made a living from it and Chomsky was against it.